Hello and welcome to the interactive virtual craft fair, running from Tuesday the 23rd to Sunday the 28th of March 2021. It's a wonderful mix of live sessions, workshops, demonstrations, live chat, a live auction, and also, a direct way to buy beautiful handmade pieces direct from all of our exhibitors. And you can do this over on interact.handmadeinbritain.co.uk. My name is Alice and I am a part of the Handmade in Britain team. And this morning I am joined by the lovely Emine from Silver Cooper Jewellery, who's going to be showing us through her collection. So without further ado, let's bring her on screen and let's say good morning. Hello, welcome.
Hello, Alice. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's a lovely day in Newcastle.
It looks very, very bright.
Yeah,
so
it's a very day.
It's really lovely. It's actually quite warm. So I'm down in London today and it's very warm. So it's really nice to see the weather changing. It does feel like spring on there. So so I tell you what, for people who are not familiar, with you and your jewellery collection, how would you best describe your practice for people?
Well, I call it art jewellery because it's all one-of-a-kind pieces. Although I make similar pieces, none of them are exactly the same. So, and it's also, I use metal clay, mainly silver clay, and silversmithing techniques. I like to mix them up. And if anybody haven't used metal clay, I'm just going to open a piece here. It's like a Play-Doh or it's just like a clay. So that's the metal clay, and you give form to it and texture it, just like using any type of clay. And this is made of, I'm just going to wrap it because it's easily get dried, and when it's dried you need to take a longer process to make it make it good again. So when you fire the metal clay, silver clay, it turns into 999 pure silver. So it has more silver content than sterling silver. I first start making standard textured, these are rings, but textured pieces. You can buy these textures almost anywhere now, and you apply them and you cut them and you fire them. And then I start to experiment with copper clay and decided to inlay copper to silver to copper, really. This is one of the pieces. Another one, we're getting into the color bits of the area. And I have to put a disclaimer to the this live session. Although it says color, texture, form in jewelry, it's the way that I use them, because if we want to talk about all the techniques available for jewelry making in those areas, it will take a couple of days. So I'm just talking about the textures and forms and colors that I use. Again, this is another copper piece inlaid with little silver dots. So I really like experimenting and using different materials and different textures. And I have a background in landscape architecture, and I taught architecture and architectural technology students. So this is a kind of referring back to that. And this piece became my logo as well. In the meantime, because I have that architectural background, I start using concrete as well. This is one of the concrete pieces. It's a brooch and it has gold flecks in it. And it's although it's collapsed inside when you set it, it creates a fantastic effect. Again, I tried those mixing with silversmithing techniques and making a ring with green concrete. So the concrete comes in different colors. The next step was to experimenting again with silver clay, but using clay instead of using the set cutters and textures, etc. Using clay and using its claynesness, if that makes sense. That creates soft, flowing forms to create. I really like making these. You don't know what you're gonna get while you messing around with the clay, and you need to be quite quick with it because, as I said, it dries quite fast. So after those experiments, I got slightly better at using silversmithing techniques as well, and wanted to mix these in a series, and that's bring me to my seed series. This is a bangle. As you can see, it's textured outside. The seed bit is silver clay, and the inside of this one is oxidized, and this one is enameled, so using a blue enamel to give this fantastic color. I love that color. And also I use 24 karat gold accents with silver clay because it's easy to use on fine silver, this technique, and create this goldy look. How I do those, they all start with this kind of little ball. I make these balls individually. These are made from wood clay. I make different sizes of balls, as you can see. Maybe not really easily, but I make these little balls, and I wrap the silver clay around them. And with sculptural techniques, I give texture outside. And then they go into firing, and they came up like these. So this is one of my signature series, and it's been used in many different ways. There are some rings. These are adjustable rings that you can purchase. That's a black one. It's textured again. And I also sometimes do without the texture. That has a deep blue in it. And I love this one as well because it's kind of closed, but it gives you from a distance, quite a nice effect on your jewellery.
It's really nice. We've kind of seen from the start, very textural pieces in kind of one colour. So we saw the copper with slight pieces of silver. We saw the little silver house. But what I've just noticed within this collection, your colour seed collection, you're adding colour. What was it that kind of brought colour, into the collection? What was the inspiration behind that?
I think, although I generally wear black, so I don't wear color on me, but I love color in jewelry. And as a difference, I don't use stones or gemstones, etc., to give that shine and color. But I wanted to add color without using gemstones, and that's one of the techniques you can use to add color with enameling techniques. And obviously I can use many other colors, but I like those kind of main colors, blue, red. I sometimes do green, but this is one of the one of a kind piece. I call it the art reflection to Art Nouveau because the handle is very Art Nouveau. And I also, there are some earrings. I wear one of those as well. You can see they're on beaded hoops. And there are stud earrings as well. So different ways of using the seeds and generating different types of pieces. So it was the really aim after achieving the seeds together.
It's kind of, when I look at them, it's actually, the earrings are beautiful. It's really nice, actually. They're a really nice size. They sit really well, actually.
Yeah.
They don't seem too imposing. But what I can see
of the pendants as well.
on there, it sits lovely, actually. It sits really nice with the, and then you can actually see kind of the reflection. It looks like you've got kind of a gold kind of sitting in there. What I can see when I look at your work is it's a very kind of natural round setting that's textured, and then just take your earrings, you kind of very kind of polished, very precise, you know, kind of beads. So it's that kind of, you know, joining of two, you know, something very, looks quite industrial with something quite natural. And you can also see that on the pendant as well. You've got this beautiful swirl, which is obviously very natural, but it's just the way you've done it and polished it and very finely really lends itself to, you know, to beautiful straight, and then another burst of natural. Do you think that's intentional? Do you think you're kind of, without knowing, you're kind of bringing in those strict rules of architecture? Or do you think it's just those kind of, you know, when we talk about texture, it's obviously texture that you're bringing, but then also kind of industrial kind of texture? I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but, you know, very kind of precise. Do you think you do that on purpose?
It is on purpose because of my background. So I have a landscape architecture background, all nice and fluffy and textured and all that. And also I'm so interested in 3D modeling because I used to teach 3D modeling as well. So all that structure and material, how material works is very important for me. So stretching the material, what can I do with it is important. So another series is the Simplicity series, which have these just tube earrings. This is oxidized, this is sterling silver, and I have also that in gold. So without any seeds on it. I love these as well. These are very minimalistic and reflects my structural side, I suppose, and organized side. Although in general, I'm not very organized when it's come to work, that becomes more apparent. And this is again from one of the Simplicity series. And as I said, I like to work and create different things from the material I have. This is, can you see? I'll just gonna put against that. That's better. Using the sterling silver and creating these little hoops or spirals and ending the end of the spirals with a little dot. Just experimenting, what can I do with the material? And then that really brings me to do my auction piece, which has started from this piece of wax. This is a flat piece of wax, and with the heat of your hand, you can manipulate this. And by doing so, you can achieve pieces like this. So this is, again, from a piece of wax. I just manipulated with the heat of my hand and creating these curves. And if you remember this piece, reflecting on this piece, but working with the wax gives me more flexibility, because as I said, working with the metal clay, you kind of have to be very quick and not to be able to experiment too much on your form, on your shape. But when you work with the wax, then you have unlimited resources almost, because obviously wax is far cheaper than the metal clay as well to experiment and then work with. Then that turns into, it goes to casting company, and they cast it in sterling silver. So as you can see, it's similar to that metal clay piece, but more complicated form. I love the form quite a lot on this one, and you can use both sides, so it's a kind of almost two different pendant, because there's no front or back. I like this side, but maybe somebody else would like this side. So this is one of the first pieces that I did, and I'll be creating it. I'll be creating a new series with that, adding earrings and maybe little charms from that.
What I'm getting the sense of is there's a lot of movement that you capture within your work. So we saw earlier the earrings from the Tangle collection. So we've got these spirals, and they're almost kind of captured. They're almost kind of like movement kind of captured as it's happening. And then just looking at your piece there, we can see that you've used then the wax. Again, if we look at it, it looks like something that's been crinkled, been pushed together, and we've kind of captured something. Do you think that's kind of what you like to put into your work? Again, kind of capturing movement.
Yes, that's definitely the case. From metal clay to working with wax and casting, I really like to capture that movement. And although there are different ways of creating them, even though in the seeds there are movements in the seed and how that texture is being created, because it's all one of a kind, it's all handmade. So yes, I love to capture that movement. And again, that movement, this is again one of my experimental pieces. It's a bigger enameling job. It's on copper, and I formed the copper and achieved this kind of trinket dish form. And that movement on this one really comes from the different colors of the enamel, because it's like drops, and again using different enameling techniques to achieve that. It's nothing extremely sophisticated, but I like to capture that moment in the, because when I use this technique, it's you use with water, so water lets you flow the color
kind of bits down. So we've been kind of talking about pieces of your work, and this actually ties in with a question that we have here. So what kind of draws your inspiration? Would you start with with drawing, or are you material led? Do you like to play with the material? I get the sense that you do. You kind of more led by your hands, because we've got a question here, and the question is, do you need a lot of larger equipment to produce your designs? How do you go about starting and then going through to the final pieces? Now, don't give away all your trade secrets, but what's a little bit of that sense of your making process?
My making process is in general with material. I sometimes, if I'm not at the studio, sometimes I draw a very basic image or cut off a little piece of picture that reflects what I'm thinking about. But in general with material, and on many pieces, especially metal clay and wax pieces, you can actually see my fingerprints. So it is really handmade. From tools point of view, I don't have major equipment. I have the basics. I don't have a rolling mill or anything like that because I haven't reached that point. Maybe I haven't had the need to use the rolling mill. But yes, metal clay. If you want to start using metal clay, it's quite easy start, and you can experiment. Apart from the silver clay itself, rest of it is quite reasonable, and you can get almost anywhere now. All the metal suppliers sells those. So I give workshops as well in metal clay and in silversmithing. So if you're interested in, just drop me a line. But yeah, it's I don't have major pieces of equipment.
I think that's why for me your work comes across as very playful in terms of, capturing, the movement. It looks like something you've had fun doing. The spirals, there's something fun. But I've noticed this actually during the week, and it seems to be a theme through a lot of our creatives that we work with. We can have a maker, and they will have two different collections, and it will seem like it's from two different makers, but it's not. It's from one. So I can see that when I look at you with your, your colour seed collection, and then going straight to your simplicity collection. And for those, the seed collection, those beautiful bulbous seeds, and then the simplicity with just those very, very straight, very kind of fixed earrings. Do you have fun playing between, the two current, or I should say the three current collections? Because it seems like different parts of your personality are kind of put into the different pieces. Do you enjoy doing that? And do they give you kind of a release, doing different things?
Oh, I definitely love playing with metal clay because you never know what you're going to get. And I try to do that with sheet silver as well. I definitely love doing what I'm doing, and it really keeps me sane, especially in this year we have been. Whenever I am able to come, I come to the studio and work, and that really keeps me sane and keeps my family sane. I like to use the material to their limits. I think there was another hint of question there, but I forgot. Sorry, Alice.
No, it's all right. It's just really nice to actually see three different collections from one person, but to equate that to one person, so I can see those different, different personalities throughout the three, collections. But actually, going back, to your workshop, obviously people have worked very differently this year. What has this year allowed you to do? Has it allowed you to focus on pushing kind of new work or revisiting pieces? What's this year been like for you?
It's I'll slightly go back to the previous question, which there was something in my mind I wanted to tell you. It's the I like to take challenges, and I mean it's not like I'm saying that I'm going to take a challenge, but it's if something forces me, I kind of think I'm going to solve that and do it. So, and silversmithing and using metal clay, that really lets you do it. So some of the experiments and some of the results are from that way of thinking. I'm going to solve that issue that I haven't been able to, and then it comes. So, and when you achieve that, you feel very, very, very good. This last year, I mean, we had some personal problems as well. But apart from that, I just needed to adapt. I mean, I love selling face to face, and I wasn't selling much through my website. But that has changed on more website based, and I also used to give workshops. That obviously stopped for a long while. During the summer, I opened one-to-one workshops, which I will be again shortly. So just adapting, but it helped me to create this wax pieces and experiment with that. So it gives me time to look at where I am and where I want to go, what I need to do. I love teaching, so I'm expanding that part because I taught in different university settings about 19 years. So that's in my blood as well. So passing the love of making is quite high in my priority as well.
That's a lovely thing actually to share, because I know that certainly during this time a lot of focus has been, for people at home, making, trying new things, but also discovering new makers. And that's what, here at Handmade in Britain we're so excited to do, because we can offer, online, and we get to have these wonderful, chats and kind of come in and kind of invade your workshop. We are coming to, to the end of our time together, but it'd be lovely just to have another look at your collection, just for anyone who's joined us kind of halfway through.
Sure.
And just remind people what they can find online, during your shop page.
So these are from the Simplicity collection. There's our 2 earrings. The oxidized and sterling silver ones are £45. The Mikado earrings are £49. They're oxidized. My auction piece currently is being silently auctioned, so you can have a look at that if you fancy. And the other pieces, I put them away, I'll find them. See, these earrings the blue ones are 54, and the gold ones, I believe, it's so hard to remember, all of them are about 60. What else we have? We have the rings. These are adjustable. Although I say, let me know ring size. It will be good to based on your ring size, but as I said, they are adjustable. I have these bangles. Again, these are open-ended, so you can adjust according to your needs. I'll show you the other colors as well. That's the blue one, and that's the gold one. And I'll show the tangled earrings. Alice's favorite, I think these are. Here we are. That's the tangled earrings.
No, I do love those, because you finish them off really nicely. You've got a little kind of dot at the top and a dot at the bottom, so I know I'm not going to scratch myself. Yeah. So, that's what I really value in the detail of your work, that you've actually thought about that, doing a nice finish, especially even on the bangle. You see it around and then it just flattens slightly, so we haven't got a sharp point.
Yeah.
I can really value, the on there. Right, well, Emine, thank you so much. It's been so nice to come and invade your workshop this morning, and thank you so much for running through your collection. It's been really lovely to get to know you and the work a little better. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you've enjoyed it. with us. And thank you, everyone.
I enjoyed it.
Good. Well, I'm really excited, and I hope that the rest of the show goes goes really well for you. And I should say a big thank you to everyone for joining us here. You've been watching Emine with her beautiful jewellery collection, and you can find her on interact.handmadeinbritain.co.uk.